Harrison Ford, the man who gave us Han Solo, Indiana Jones, and decades of unforgettable performances. He's a living legend, one of Hollywood's last true movie stars. But what happens when that quiet, rugged humility collides with Joy Behar's sharp tongue and unapologetic commentary? What was meant to be a nostalgic conversation about Harrison's legacy became one of the most unexpected, emotional, and fiery moments ever captured on live television. This wasn't just about movies. It was about respect, legacy, and the cost of speaking your truth.
The studio lights glowed warmly, matching the nostalgic tone of the morning's episode. Harrison Ford sat at the view table, his rugged charm still magnetic after all these years. The audience erupted in cheers when he walked on stage, a living symbol of classic Hollywood charisma. Joy Behar opened the segment with a smile that was polite but edged. "Harrison, you've done it all. Starships, whips, presidents on airplanes. I have to ask, why keep doing movies at this point? You've got nothing left to prove." Harrison smirked slightly, that trademark smolder in his eyes. "I don't do it to prove anything, Joy. I just love telling stories. Keeps me out of trouble." The audience laughed warmly, but Joy tilted her head. "That's sweet, but don't you think it's time for Hollywood's old guard to step aside? Let the new generation shine without competing with legends who already had their moment." The audience gave a small gasp. Whoopi Goldberg gave Joy a quick side-eye, already sensing where this might be heading. Harrison leaned back in his chair, lips tightening into a faint grin. "You calling me old, Joy?" Joy laughed. "Well, you said it, not me." The tension was subtle, but real, like the quiet creak of a leather whip before it cracks.
Harrison took a moment before speaking, his voice steady and deliberate. "Look, Joy, I'm not taking jobs from anybody. There's room for everyone in Hollywood. You don't stop doing what you love because someone younger shows up." Joy's tone sharpened. "But don't you think there's something nostalgic, maybe even selfish about holding on? People want new faces, new voices. Some say Hollywood's obsession with old icons like you is stifling creativity." Harrison chuckled, but his eyes narrowed slightly. "Selfish, Joy? I spent decades earning the right to do the work I love. And if people still want to see me, then I guess I'm doing something right." The crowd applauded loudly, some even whistling. Joy, sensing the audience was siding with Harrison, pressed on. "It's not personal, Harrison, but a lot of young talent feels boxed out by names like yours. Don't you think passing the torch gracefully is part of your legacy?" Harrison leaned in, his deep voice now with an edge. "Passing the torch doesn't mean extinguishing your own flame, Joy." The audience erupted in cheers and applause, with Whoopi shaking her head and muttering, "Oh, this just got real." Joy crossed her arms. "I'm not trying to insult you, Harrison. I'm just saying there's something to be said for knowing when to step aside. Even the greatest eventually retire." Harrison gave a dry laugh, shaking his head. "You know, Joy, I've done stunts hanging off airplanes and outrunning boulders, but I've never been talked to like I should just sit on a porch and fade away. That's not how I live." Joy shot back, "Maybe it's not about fading away. Maybe it's about letting go of the spotlight so the next generation can have their own Indiana Jones moments." Harrison's face hardened, his voice rising slightly for the first time. "The next generation isn't waiting for me to leave, Joy. They're out there doing their own thing. What I do doesn't stop them, but I'm not going to apologize for still being passionate about my craft. If that bothers you, that's your problem, not mine." The studio fell silent for a beat before the audience broke into loud cheers. Some even stood chanting, "Harrison! Harrison!"
Joy, clearly irritated, leaned back in her chair, her signature smirk returning. Well, that's certainly one way to put it.
Sunny Hostin jumped in, attempting to cool things down. Maybe what Joy means is legacy is about timing. Harrison interrupted sharply. Legacy is about the work, Sunny. The work speaks for itself. People can decide when they've had enough of me, but it won't be because someone told me to stop. Joy folded her arms tighter. And what if one day they do? What if people do get tired of Harrison Ford still swinging a whip at 80? Harrison leaned forward, his voice a low growl. Then I'll stop because they stop watching. But right now, they're watching. You can't argue with that. The audience roared in approval, chanting again, drowning out Joy's reply. Whoopi Goldberg leaned into her mic, half joking, half serious. This is what happens when you poke a legend with a stick, Joy. Joy laughed, but her voice was strained. Well, you're certainly fired up for a guy who says he's just doing it for fun. Harrison smiled wryly. Maybe I just don't like people telling me when my story's over, especially when they're not the ones writing it. The tension snapped into applause, half the crowd now standing and cheering, while Joy adjusted her papers, looking flustered.
The episode ended with an awkward handshake between Harrison and Joy, though his expression remained stone serious. As soon as the cameras cut, Twitter exploded. Hashtag Harrison versus Joy trended within minutes, fans flooding timelines with clips of Harrison's defiant line. Passing the torch doesn't mean extinguishing your own flame. Entertainment outlets swarmed on the debate. Harrison Ford schools Joy Behar to viral interview Showdown. The View gets heated. Joy Behar suggests Harrison retire. He fires back. Even Hollywood actors chimed in online, many siding with Harrison. Fans over 50, in particular, praised him for standing his ground, seeing him as a voice for those who still feel relevant beyond society's age limit. By evening, Harrison released a calm statement. No hard feelings, I love debate, but I'm still here, still passionate, and not planning on slowing down anytime soon. Joy tweeted hours later, I love Harrison, but I stand by what I said. Legacy matters. The clash ignited a nationwide discussion about aging, creativity, and relevance. For many, it wasn't just about Hollywood, it was about life itself.
When the applause finally quieted and the credits rolled, Harrison Ford sat silently for a moment, his hands folded on the table. The legendary actor, who had faced countless intense scenes on camera, had just experienced something rare, a clash where the script was real, raw, and unfiltered. Joy Behar, ever the professional, offered him a half smile. You know, Harrison, I respect your fire. Really, I do. Maybe I worded it wrong. Harrison returned the smile, but there was a weight in his eyes. Maybe I took it too personal, Joy, but you've got to understand, people like me, we live for this work. It's not about clinging to fame, it's about still having something to say. The audience erupted in applause, sensing a resolution. Whoopi Goldberg muttered with a grin, Lord, you two had me ready to duck under this table. The audience laughed, breaking the tension completely. But the internet wasn't laughing. It was on fire. Clips of Harrison saying, passing the torch doesn't mean extinguishing your own flame, hit Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube within minutes, garnering millions of views. Fans of all ages began debating aging, relevance, and what it really means to have your moment. One viral tweet read, Harrison Ford just delivered a life lesson on live TV. This man is more than an actor. He's a symbol of never giving up on your passion. Hashtag Harrison versus Joy.
Another countered, Joy Behar wasn't wrong. At some point, even legends need to make space for new voices. This was real talk. By evening, entertainment sites had exploded with headlines. Harrison Ford schools Joy Behar and heated on-air exchange.
Clash of generations. Joy Behar challenges Harrison Ford, and internet chooses sides. Even celebrities weighed in. Chris Pratt tweeted a simple, "Legends never retire. Respect to Harrison Ford." While Rosie O'Donnell posted, "Joy's right. Legacy means knowing when to pass the mic." And yet, amid the chaos, something deeper resonated. Harrison's message wasn't just about acting. It was about life itself, about refusing to let someone else decide when you're done contributing, done living your passion, done being you. For millions of viewers, especially those over 50, it felt deeply personal. That night, Harrison issued a short statement. "No disrespect intended. I love debate, I love passion, and I love doing what I do. I'll keep working until I can't, or until people stop showing up. That's fair enough." The video reached 12 million views in 24 hours. The comment section flooded with messages like, "This isn't about Hollywood. This is about all of us who refuse to quit just because someone thinks we're too old." The clash between Harrison and Joy Behar wasn't just viral television. It became a cultural moment, a mirror for anyone who's ever been told they've had their time. If you love powerful celebrity clashes, emotional debates, and unforgettable television moments, make sure you hit subscribe and ring the bell. Because trust me, the next clash is coming and you won't want to miss it.